Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another tutorial. It's me IJ and I'm back. Guys, today I want us to learn how to achieve this beautiful gown that you are seeing on the screen. It is a with deep V yoke, and also it has a cup and a structured sleeve. So guys, it's so easy to achieve. Without wasting much of your time, let us dive into today's tutorial. So now this is my paper that we are going to use to draft it before going on to achieve it. So here is my chest line, my bust points, under bust waistline, and this is the basket effect. I added 3 inches after the waistline. So guys, I'm going to be a little bit fast on making this, but I believe we all will follow. And also, if it's difficult for you to understand, just check out my other tutorials where I explained how to draft a basic bodice and also how to draft corset. It's basically the same. Now guys, from this shoulder line I came down with 1 inch, which is our shoulder slope, and on the neckline first I used 3 inches to get our shoulder slope, and the neckline depth is 3.5 on 3.5. That is, the width is 3.5 and the depth is 3.5. So now let's get to the armhole. So from this line now, which is the shoulder slope, I'm going to come down by 5 inches, which is here, and on the bust point I'm going to go up by 1/2 inch, which is here. So I will use my armhole curve to connect it in a sweetheart form. Do you see it? So I'll connect it in this way to make my sweetheart neckline. Do you see it? So after that, I'm going to take my dart measurement. From the bust point, I'm going to measure my nipple to nipple, which is 4 inches, and I'll come down to the basket effect, which is 4 inches. I'm going to give it a straight line. Do you see it? I make it a straight line. And on the bust point here, I'm going to leave it in this form now to take my dart. The dart I'm working with is 1 inch. So on the under bust on each side, I'm going to take 1 inch, and I'm also going to bring it down to the hem here, which is also the basket effect line, and I'm going to make a straight line. Do you see it? I've made a straight line. And on this bust point, I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch. I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to connect it with my curve also. If you don't have your curve, you can equally use your free hand to curve it. Curve is not a barrier. Free hand can equally go. You can use your free hand. So I'll now curve it here, and I'll turn it on this side to curve it here. After that, I'm going to extend this line to the chest line. That is, I'm going to extend it. Remember, this is going to be our yoke. Here is going to be our yoke. This is our yoke. So I'm going to extend it to this yoke now. So I've extended it to the yoke. So now I'm going to now come up also on with 1/2 inch. On this bust point, I'm going to go up with 1/2 inch. And on this yoke, I'm going to take 1/2 inch on both sides. Here I'm going to take 1/2 inch, and on this side I'm going to take 1/2 inch. And I'm going to use also my curve to connect it to this 1/2 inch here. And I'll turn this side also to connect it. Do you see it? So we have now gotten our dart both on the chest line and also on the under bust. So now I'm going to now measure my radius, which is the difference between the bust point and the under bust. I have, from the bust point to the under bust, I have 3 inches. So I'm going to go round, marking my 3. So I've marked my 3 inches round. Do you see it? I've marked it round. I've marked it round 3 inches. So now I'm going to now form my cup. So on this side, I'm going to, remember this yoke that cross across the chest line, we are not going to go over it. If you want on this side your cup to be long, you can maintain it here, but I want the cup to be short, so I'm going to come down by 1 inch more. I'll come down by 1 inch more, so my yoke out is going to be 6 inches instead of 5 inches. So I will connect it back to the bust point where we came up by 1/2 inch. Do you see it? Because I want to reduce the cup of the so my yoke now will now start from 6 inches here. So by doing so, I'm reducing the cup that is going to be on the side. So now from here, I'm going to measure 3 inches. I'm going to measure 3.5 inches. I'm going to measure 3.5 inches. So I'm going to now, from this point, I'm going to connect it to the under bust with my cuff. And I'm going to extend it to the armhole. Do you see it? I've now extended it to the armhole. So on this side, I'm going to now come in here. From here, I'm going to now connect it. I'm going to connect it in this form. So I'm going to use also my cup by 1/2 inch. I'm going to come out here by 1/2 inch. And I'm going to connect my cup. Do you see it, guys? So we have now connected our cup. So now we are going to cut it out. But before then, let us insert our measurement. On the waistline, we are going to insert 8.75 because it's 35 divided by 4. So you are going to have 8.75. So here is my 8.75. Remember, 2 inches that is going off. We add the 2 inches and we add extra 2.5 inch to sew it together. Or let us add 3 inches, so that we are going to use 1 inch to sew it together and the other 2 inches is for joining to the back and making it to be beautiful. That is to turn it if you don't have the zigzag machine. So now we added 3 more inches as our seam allowance. So on the chest line is 10 inches, 40 divided by 4 is 10 inches. Remember, this 1 inch that is going out here, you add it and also include your 3 inches seam allowance. It's better to have excess allowance. If you don't need it, after joining it, you can cut it out than to have less. So the next thing now is to join our panels, that is to join the lines together. Do you see it? So now we are going to cut our panel out. So before cutting it out, let us take a look at the back panel, which I have also drafted. I have also tutorials on how to cut the back panel, which is very easy. So this is our back panel here. This is the shoulder line like the front. This is the zip allowance. This is the zip allowance. Here is our zip allowance, and here is our 4.5 inches as our nipple to nipple measurement plus seam allowance. So now on each side I took away 1/2 inch and I came to the chest line, because remember the chest line is going to also be the yoke, but it's going to have a loop at the back. So on the waistline I came in by 2 inches and on the chest line I came in by 3 inches. So on that we are not making use of the zip line, but I just added the zip line for clearance. So now we are making use of our main measurement. So from the waistline I came in by 2 inches and on the chest I came in by 3 inches and I connected it with a straight line. And remember, since this is going to have a loop, we are not going to make use of this upper side. Only the yoke we are going to make use, and it depends on the design that you want. So I want my design to have an opening to the chest line. So now I came from the 3.5 inches, I connected it where the loop is going to start on the chest line. Do you see it? So all these are going away. We are not making use of it. We are only making use of this part. And I've added also my measurement, the waist and the chest like we did in the front. So the next thing now is to cut both the front and the back out. And is our yoke, the back yoke. And this is our where we are going to insert our loop. Remember, cutting it on our material, we are going to add ½ inch on this side. If you want to cut it as a piece, now that you've cut out this side, you just place it in this form. Do you see it? When you place it in this form, we are going to cut it as a piece and not in 2 pieces. You just place this in this form, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use my gum now to place it as a 1. So now this is the one that we cut out on this side, so I'll place it to cover up the darts. So we don't need the darts again to add it, to add the ½ inch. So we are cutting it as a piece now. So when I place it on my material, we have taken care of the darts. So we are going to remove this 1 inch now on this allowance on this side to make it lesser. So now let's mark 1 inch here. And also on this side, we are going to mark ½ inch. No, we are going to mark 1 inch also on this side because we added 1 inch to sew it together. So now we are going to now reshape the back. So this 1 inch, we don't need it anymore. We are going to cut it out. So this is what we are going to cut out at the back panel. So the front panel, this is the front panel. We are going to cut it out and we are going to make a little adjustment on the cup area. So now let us cut. We are going to cut out our yoke first. Remember, we are not going to use the first measurement. We are going to use 6 inches, the second measurement. So this is how we are going to cut it out. And remember, the dart is always stopping at the yoke where it meets the yoke. So now this is our yoke. This is the yoke we are going to cut out, and also the neckline. You can decide to use any neckline of your choice. This is the one I've chosen to use. So you can decide to use any one. And this is the shoulder. Remember the ½ inch to join it to the back panel. So here is our yoke of the front panel. Do you see it now? This is our cup. This is our cup that we are going to use. Do you see it? So now, guys, we are going to reshape this cup because looking at it now, so looking at this cup now, you see this cup, this is longer than this. So we are going to make up so that when you sew it, it's not going to end half. It's going to be equal with this. So we are going to take a fresh piece of paper to make it up. Just place it here. Use your gum also to just gum it down. So now we are going to place it in this form. So now we are going to check what is missing. Let us measure it, because without that it's going to be short after sewing it. So now what we have on this side is 3 1/4, while on this side what we have is 2 1/4. So we are going to add more 1 inch on this side to make it 3 1/4. Do you see it? So that is what we are going to do. So you are going to extend it. Just extend it to meet up with this. So you are going to use your marker just to extend this. Do you see it? So this is the new one we are going to cut out now, so that it's going to match with this when you sew it. But on this side, it remains the same. On this center, it will remain the same because you are not going to cut out anything. So now, we are going to now use our cuff. We are going to use our cuff to curve it back to have our sweethearts. Do you see it? So, do you see it? So, when you now sew it, do you see? When you now sew it, it will now match together. Do you see it? So, now this is our new one that we are going to cut out. If you don't do it in that way, you are going to have such shortage at the upper side. So guys, do you see it? So this is our new cup on the center, which is going to be used. So now when you sew it together, do you see it? It comes and join together. It's not going to be half. Do you see it? So now I'm going to place all my drafts on my material to cut them out. But before then, let us see our... So now guys, do you see our drafts? Do you see it? So this is the yoke, and these are the cups, and these are the sides. Remember to label your cup so that you are not going to make any mistake. So just take your marker and label your cup. You can label it A and B, or you can label it 1 and 2. It's your choice. Do you see it? So this is the yoke, the cup, and the center and the side. So I'm going to place it, and also this is the back panel, which is, this is the yoke, and also this is the main body, which we are going to cut out as a piece. Remember, we join it together to cut it out as a piece. So now I'm going to place it on my material, cut out my materials, and also cut out the lining, and I'm going to show to you. So guys, I've cut out our materials. These are the yokes, the back yoke and the back center, and also the yoke of the front and the cups and the side and center panel, adding my 1/2 inch all through to join them together. Remember to add your 1/2 inch to join them together. So now this tutorial is all about drafting and cutting it out. On my next video, I'm going to post how to join them together and to show you the final look. If this tutorial has been helpful, don't forget to like, share, and comment on my videos. And if you have any question, don't fail to drop it on the comment section. I'll get back to you. I love you, and I'll see you in my next video. For now, bye.